All right. I can dig the pain of having a loved one in the hospital. I really, really can. What I don't understand is why Paul Krendler just told the world that W.J.J. Hogue lied under oath.
Welcome to Trailer Trash Talk, or should it be Trailer Trash Talk? Maybe Trailer Trash Talk. I don't suppose it really matters now, does it? Here, from his trailer in a mobile home park in Elkridge, Maryland, the Trash Master, Bill Schmalfeld.
It'll be interesting to see if we can hear anything about the dog whining going on in the background. Good day. It is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2015. I'm Bill Schmalfeld, and welcome to our first episode of Trailer Trash Talk. And I eventually will put this program on Blog Talk Radio, where it'll be a live program. But right now my schedule is up in the air, as I don't know from day to day what kind of shape Gail is going to be in, Gail being my wife. She's in the hospital now. She has been since Sunday. And, well, let's just say things are not going swimmingly. But what I referred to there at the little sound clip to start the show, let's dwell on that before we talk about today's courtroom action. When Brett Kimberlin had W.J.J. Hogue III of Westminster, Maryland, on the stand at the original peace order hearing for Hogue's alleged violation of Grace's law, that's the law that protects minor children from harassment over the internet here in the state of Maryland. If I'm not incorrect, and Brett can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that Brett asked him directly under oath if he knew who Paul Krendler is. And Hogue said he had no idea. Under oath, he said he did not know who Paul Krendler is. As a matter of fact, I think he said so on his blog as well, which is not under the same penalty of perjury as lying under oath. Well, spank my ass and call me Puffy. Here it is right here on his blog from May 9th, 2015, not even a month ago. It was his Team Kimberlin post of the day. And this was right after, that had to be right after he lost his peace order against me. I'm reading directly from his blog now. I'm reasonably certain that the dreadful pro se Schmalfeld, quote, has sad, close quote, because he didn't get to ask me under oath about the identity of Paul Krendler. As I've already said under oath, I don't know. In paragraph 58 of his complaint, in the Kimberlin versus Theme Thesis et al. RICO 2 Electric Boogaloo LOL suit, Paul Krendler is identified as me. I don't know who Krendler is, but I know that I'm not he. So W.J.J. Hogue admits he said under oath, which lying under oath is a crime they call perjury, that he did not know who Paul Krendler is. How does that square against this piece of knowledge? As those who may have followed the liberal Grouchcast before this fundamental transformation into trailer trash talk, you may remember that Paul Krendler, who I assert is actually Patrick Grady of Palatine, Illinois, his daughter, he says, was injured in a car crash last week sometime, and was in a coma, and so on and so forth. Now, nobody knows more than I do how something like that can mess with your head. I've been through it too often myself. I'm going through it right now with my wife in the hospital with a provisional diagnosis of ovarian cancer. But still, this strikes me as a terrible, unforced error. Today, on his the blog, I should say, that he created, the Thinking Man's Zombie, Paul Krendler writes, "I know some of you have commented asking for updates. My daughter came through the weekend without incident. The doctors say this is good. There was swelling in her brain, which has since subsided. I think that was the reason for the induced coma. She was taken off those meds, but has not regained consciousness. She's breathing on her own, about 70%, so she's getting oxygen too." Let's move down here a little bit just to save some time. "The driver of the other car was on the phone when he ran the red light. Please put the damn thing down while you're driving. It can wait. Finally, thanks to John for the flowers and balloons. I hope she wakes up while they're still fresh enough to enjoy. Grace, where did you find that bear?" All right, how did William John Joseph Hoag III know which hospital, to which name, to which child to send those balloons if he does not know who Paul Krendler is? I will establish in my lawsuit against Grady that Hoag has already given evidence that I can use to prove that Grady and Krendler are one and the same. But here we have Paul Krendler saying, thanks to John for the flowers and the balloons. Now, I suppose the upshot of that will be, well, I wasn't talking about John Hoag. If I was going to say Hoag, I meant Hoag. John's a common name. Your father's name was John. You had a brother named John. Bullshit. You're talking about John Hoag. That's how you always refer to him on your blog, as John. And Grace, she's the hate-crazed twat whose avatar has been images of my wife in various stages of decomposition. I had intended to offer those as exhibits today in my motions hearing in Howard County District Court, Circuit Court that is, but the judge said she didn't need to see them just yet, so they will make their appearance in the actual trial. Notice how I'm not saying if the judge allows the trial to continue, because the judge will allow the trial to continue.
The Narcotic Story. The Narcotic Story is a blunt, bare, and uncensored look into the very heart of America's biggest and most vicious crime. For the first time, narcotics addicts themselves have joined with enforcement officers to bring you a major picture dedicated to a true and authentic presentation of this racket as it really exists and operates. It is the story of human lives engulfed in hell, with every current sucking them deeper into self-destruction. It is the story of the young and innocent, and why they take their first faltering steps into this weird and bizarre world of addiction. And it is the story of the power that holds them in that world, and sends them plunging headlong into a living death. Story of desperate men for whom no act is too treacherous, no crime too vicious, and for whom death may be the only escape. The narcotics story is not fiction. Men who know the problem firsthand tell you their reactions to this powerful and moving expose of fact. The narcotics story is the shocking story behind today's headlines. The burning facts brought to life before your very eyes in brilliant Eastman color.
Frankly, if it's not an Eastman color, I don't want to see it.
Crendler or Grady, you can't make up your mind which one you are. I'd like to wake up and find Crendler or Grady, fear defines what you are. I own you, I own you, I own you, I own you. Crendler or Grady, you're not very smart. You craven coward, you've made it in art. Crendler or Grady, fool whichever you are. I own you, I own you, I own you. You write like a moron, and I'm being kind. There's no use in fighting. What's yours will be mine. Crendler or Grady, I'll see you in court. Won't strip you naked, I'll leave you some shorts. Crendler or Grady, do you know who you are? I own you, I own you, I own you, I own you. Crendler or Grady, yes, soon you will be mine. Thought you were clever, you're out of your mind. Crendler or Grady, fear defines who you are. I own you, I own you, I own you.
We've barely begun to take out the trash. This is Trailer Trash Talk. Now, back to our trash master, Bill Schmalfeld.
Broadcasting from, actually I should say podcasting, from my single-wide trailer in Elkridge, Maryland. This is Trailer Trash Talk, Episode 1. I'm Bill Schmalfeld. Thank you for being with us today. I had a court date today, and it was one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't things. John Hogue has filed several motions to dismiss my lawsuit against him. My lawsuit was filed in February, and rather than just file an answer to my complaint, he's filed all these motions basically to slow everything down. Now, when I filed the complaint, my wife was okay. She was losing some weight, but it was February. She was still feeling pretty good, still looking good. The bottom didn't fall out, actually, until March. So I know I'm going to have to amend the complaint anyway. But nothing, Hogue said today, rises to the level of requiring a judge to dismiss my case. And I feel like I bloodied him up pretty good, too. He said that Maryland's long arms statute won't work because right now he's the only defendant. I reminded the judge that Eric P. Johnson of Paris, Tennessee is also a defendant. He just refuses to be served, and that I have 2 John Does on the defendant list who we don't know where they live. We don't know how much, if any, business they do in Maryland. So it's premature to say that Hogue cannot be sued in Howard County as a proper venue. And like I said, I like to think I bloodied him up a little bit, too. He's quite the braggadocious fellow. I don't know if you've ever seen his blog. I don't recommend it because if you look in the dictionary under the word megalomaniac, it says C.W.J.J. Hogue, and you look there, and, well, there's his picture. Have you seen the little hoggies crawling in the slime? Sad for all the little hoggies running out of time. Paying for your crime can lead to butt hurt. Have you seen the daddy hoggy in his nice bow ties? You will find that daddy hoggy's running out of lies, nearing his demise in profound butt hurt.
In their styles with all their shucking, they don't care what goes on around. With their lies, you see them sucking what they got so damn good fucking.
Everywhere there's lots of hoggies with their hoggy lies. Even Hoggy's giant boy child with his chafing eyes, hoping daddy dies while he has money. One more time.
Daddy, they did a song about us.
Be quiet, you fool!
Oh.
You can prance if you want to. You can lick your friends behind. 'Cause your friends aren't clean, they're revolting and mean. They're a real plague on mankind. Say, you can do what you're doing if it gives you peace of mind. 'Cause you can act like you come from out of this world. To reality you are blind. And you can prance.
Come see.
You can say what you want to, 'cause they believe most any lie. And you can just pretend that you're not being sued. You're a real internet tough guy. Say, you can act like a douchebag. That'll give your friends a thrill. And you can be real rude, totally included. You can prove you're an imbecile. And say, you can prance, nothing is in your control. You can prance, digging a deeper hole. You can prance, everybody look at him go. He can prance, Grady is taking the chance. With the Grady prance, the Grady prance. The Grady prance. You can prance if you want to. We all know you've lost your mind. Your wife thinks you're a loser, anonymous abuser. Schmallfest's gonna sue you blind. Say, you can do what you're doing if it gives you peace of mind. Cause you can act like you come from out of this world. To reality, you are blind. And say, you can prance, nothing's in your control. You can prance, digging a deeper hole. You can prance, everybody look at him go. He can prance, Grady is taking the chance. Well, the Grady prance, 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 well, it's the Grady prance, it's the Grady prance, it's the Grady prance, it's the Grady prance, it's the Grady prance. It's the Grady Prince. It's the Grady Prince.
And speaking of Krendler or Grady, I see on Pacer, that's the federal court's docketing system where you can see the for a price the various court documents filed in the U.S. district courts around the country. I see that Grady has finally been served. He was served on the 20th of May, and so he has until the 13th of June to file his response with the court, be that a motion, be that an answer, and I do believe that's a week from today. Now, Hogue had his little supporters with him today. There was two that I saw. I didn't know I was looking at one of them. The chick who has apparently taken over the Krendler blog while he nurses his young daughter back to health, she calls herself Zombie Mistress Morgana or some other such ridiculous 14-year-old bullshit. And I see why she is prone to such of an identity. If this was her in the courtroom today, she arrived just in time for Hogue and I to face off. Let's describe her, shall we? About 5'2", maybe. Jet black hair dyed that way. No eyebrows. About, I'm going to guess, 85 pounds. A meth addict from the looks of her. And stinky? I'll say. And of course, Hogue never goes anywhere without his pet Muppet, Aaron Walker, or as some know him, Aaron Worthing, the Aaron Worthing story. The Liberal Grouch brings you this documentary look into the life and childhood of America's most useless lawyer, Aaron Worthing. How did he go from obscurity as a child to loathsomeness as a religio-fascist, racist bigot today? Here to tell the story is our own Hector de Peoples.
Raising Aaron Walker, Worthing, was not an easy task for his parents, Aaron and Aaronetta Worthing. Former next-door neighbor, Brutus Ragdish, smiled as he recalled some of the antics of the young Worthing lad.
Those were the days. I remember back in the, when was that again? The mid-60s or something? Everything kind of runs together now. It's hard to pin things down to specific dates. But I do recall when we lived next door to the Worthings, and I'd just sit in my backyard and watch through the chain-link fence that the state said the Worthings had to put around their property to keep their boy in. And they had a dog at the time. It was a small, sort of pit bull mix, pit bull and Chihuahua. And that boy Aaron would come out and just poke his finger in that dog's eye every morning. At first, the dog would just kind of, yike and kind of scurry away. And then when the dog saw young Aaron coming out in the morning, he'd just run and hide. Aaron wasn't the sharpest lad, and he thought that the dog was just disappearing on account of his not being there where he was supposed to be. But eventually it dawned on him that the dog was actively hiding from him, so he found the dog's hiding place underneath the porch, crawled under there, dragged the dog out, sat him down in front of him, and started poking him in the eye again. Over and over and over. Poke that poor little dog in the eye till the dog couldn't stand it anymore and bit him. I mean, he bit him real good, too. Took out a chunk of his face, as I recall. And Aaron went running up the steps, and I could hear him inside the house screaming that it was his pet, and it was his First Amendment right to do whatever he wanted to that dog, and that dog did not have the right to bite him, and that his mom and daddy ought to do something about it, and I'm damned if the daddy didn't come outside with a shotgun and scatter that poor little puppy all over the front yard. I don't think they raised the boy right. It's part of the problem. Never was quick on the uptake, though. Oh, the times I could get him to come over to the chain link fence and ask him if he'd ever seen a worm crawl through a chain link fence, and he'd get his face real close, and I'd lower my zipper, and he never caught on. Okay, when are we going to start recording?
By the time he reached middle school, it was clear that young Aaron was not like the other boys. In addition to his other defects, Aaron was unable to use his right hand since he was never quite able to grasp the concept, stove hot, don't touch. According to emergency room records, young Aaron was a patient in their treatment facility 27 times between the ages of 3 and 14. Dr. Anderson Sykes was a young ER resident at the time.
Well, the first time it happens, you think it's probably just an accident. But then when it starts happening over and over again, you start to suspect child abuse. I think it was like the 6th time they brought in young Aaron within the span of 3 months that we finally had the child welfare people investigate the living conditions at the Worthing residence. Swear to God, they had the social worker sitting in with the family the whole day, and the Worthing parents stood by the whole time. When Mrs. Worthing was making a skillet full of hamburger helper or something, and young Aaron, he just kept walking up to the stove, and before he'd get there, his mama would say, "Aaron, stove hot, don't touch." And he'd look back at her and give her this defiant glance like, "I ain't gonna bother me this time." He'd reach out and he'd grab the red hot burner of the... We thought about taking the boy out of the home then, but the parents were not at fault per se, but they did suggest, the social workers I should say, did suggest that they come up with some way to
keep Aaron out of the kitchen, which I guess they finally did by shipping him off to the state home for dull boys. You know, it's not like they didn't try. They put like one of those the childhood fences that they used to keep a dog in a room, but he was clever enough to figure that out. So they tried to use a leash on him and just, you know, keep him confined within a 6-foot space of his bedroom, but he ended up almost strangling on that, so that idea didn't pan out. So the only choice left was the state school, and they took him. As things turned out, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. He's still alive anyway. If such a life can indeed be referred to as living. On his 14th birthday, his parents told young Aaron that they were taking him to a birthday party at a local ice cream parlor. But there would be no ice cream for young Aaron that night, as the trip would not be the short drive to an ice cream parlor, but the long drive to the Manassas School for Dull Boys, now known as the Manassas School for Boys with nowhere to go but up. It took a while, but we were finally able to locate one of Aaron's classmates, a lumpy, middle-aged man nicknamed Target, who was employed as a mop boy in a New York City adult bookstore. He spoke to us.
Yeah. The thing I remember most about, what was his name? Aaron? Yeah. The thing I remember most about him was his nickname. Yeah, the other guys, they give you nicknames if you're not big enough or strong enough to not have a nickname. You got assigned a nickname, and that was your name. That's how even the teachers should call you that. Mine was Target because the other boys would use me to calibrate their urine streams, and they just called Aaron toilet. I don't think I need to really go into specifics why, but that's what they called him. It was the toilet. I must say I was a step higher on the social chart than toilet was, and I look back at it now with a little bit of shame, because it took him forever to learn something, and that's why it was necessary, I guess. The teachers didn't have nothing to do with him, and it was necessary for the other students to enforce the standard pecking order, or pecker order, as they used to call it, to enforce that order to show Aaron that, or Toilet, where his place was in the line of things. And every time I think of him, I think of him being used as a toilet. It still makes me chuckle every time. By the way, why are we calling him Worthing? His real name is what?
The production company was forced to buy new shoes for the camera crew after their visit to that adult bookstore. The Worthing family learned to their horror that shortly before his 18th birthday, young Aaron managed to chew his way through his leather restraints and escape into the Manassas night. He apparently tried to find his own way home, and it was only after receiving a phone call from a gas station owner that they learned that young Aaron had found his way to the town's center, claiming he was a fireman, a spaceman, and a cowboy. Howard Clower was the station attendant that night.
Back then, we had one of them grocery stores across the street from the gas station, and it had them little mechanical rides for the kids on them. And you drop in a quarter and you ride for a little while. One of them was a pony, and one was like a little rocket ship, and another was like a fire truck. And I don't know where he got all the quarters, but this little boy he wasn't a little boy. He seemed like a little boy, but I guess he was a full-grown man. He was going from one of them machines to the other and riding them for as long as they would allow him to ride for the quarter, and then he'd move on to the horse, and then to the fire truck, and then back to the rocket ship, and giggling like a little girl. I never saw a person having so much fun. So the station owner, he crossed the street and asked the young man what he was up to, and he told him he was a spaceman and a cowboy and a fireman. Didn't take much to figure out that he had escaped from the school of the dull for dull boys. So we called the school, but the administration said that since he was 18 and technically an adult, there weren't nothing to do about it, and he was free to go anytime he wanted to. So we just learned his real name and called his parents and let him sleep in the garage until about a week later when his mom and papa showed up for him.
But this was the beginning of bigger and better things for young Aaron. On their drive to Manassas to gather their son, the Worthing parents, who did not reply to several requests for interviews, discussed the lad's situation. The older Worthing said there was only one place, one profession, where a lad of Aaron's unique disability and inability to learn, even when the result of his repeated mistakes would cause unimaginable pain and torment, could hope to succeed. And that was the law. Papa Worthing pulled some strings, greased some palms, and got a law degree in the mail from a company calling itself Yale University Law School Diplomas Incorporated. Now all his son had to do was pass the Virginia bar examination. But when Aaron walked into the exam room, all hell broke loose, as we hear from exam proctor, Dr. Harold Lint.
Do I remember? How do you forget something like that? I tried to forget it, but I can't forget it. We had this classroom filled with 20 or 30 young law school graduates who all they needed to do was pass the bar exam, and this young, what are you calling him for the, you're calling him Worthing, fine, whatever. He walks into the examination room, and he sees all these other students, and right away he urinates in his pants. Standing there dripping like a tree after a rainstorm, he starts screaming the word toilet, 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 over and over again, and he dove through the nearest window. And we never saw him again. And frankly, I'm glad about that. That doesn't bother me at all. How is he doing, by the way?
And therein lies the rest of this tale. Papa Worthing was not a man to be denied something he wanted. More palms were greased, more chips were cashed in, and the state legislature passed a one-time only exemption allowing young Aaron to take the bar exam in his bedroom, using his computer with an actual lawyer sitting by his side to give him the answers. Even with this assistance, young Aaron barely passed the examination by the skin of his teeth. The elder Walker found his son a job as far away from a real courthouse as possible as a compliance attorney with a nearby home health care corporation. He purchased a fine mail-order bride, bypassing the readily available bride factory in the former Soviet republics, and choosing a plump, well-fed, compliant girl from the Philippines to be Aaron's life partner. If Aaron should someday have sex with his wife, they may, in fact, produce grandchildren. But one thing would stand in Aaron's way, something his father couldn't pay his way out of. There is not enough money in the world to take religious bigotry from the heart of a religious bigot. Now unemployed, Aaron endangers his entire neighborhood, the entire city, by daring Islamic extremists to declare him fatwa worthy. And at long last, this boy who poked his dog in the eye until it mauled him, this boy who lost the use of one hand from touching the hot stove over and over and over when mommy said no, this man who seems incredibly and absolutely incapable of learning a lesson or holding a job, he may have finally succeeded. For the Liberal Grouch, I am Hector de Peoples. Thank you for listening.
Girls for Rent, a story as bold as the headlines flashing across our country today, telling of girls available for any purpose to those who have the rental fee.
Hold on there just a second. If anybody thinks this is going to be a rip on Lee Stranahan and his wife and their little side business they ran in the early aughts, it's not. Those days are behind them now. So if the projectionist would proceed.
It all starts with a prison camp bust-out from a hellhole where women are treated like dirt.
Newt Gingrich's house? That was too easy. Rush Limbaugh's house.
Everybody's heard about Linda Lovelace, Marilyn Chambers, and Georgina Spelman, the screen's erotic queens. And now you can see Georgina Spelman, star of The Devil and Miss Jones, at a theater near you in Girls for Rent. What you see on the screen in Girls for Rent is actually happening in the United States today. This motion picture smashes open the dirty world of politicians' party girls.
Wait a minute. Did he just say potty girls? Oh, party girls. I'm sorry.
Party girls, massage, and murder. It was too hot to tell before, but now the lid is off.
Yeah, what with Watergate and everything, anything goes. 7.
Looking for some action? The organization's gals have got it in Girls for Rent. Hot-blooded, hot-lipped, and hot-rodding down the highways. These girls can handle any man and any set of roaring wheels. Get ready for something new. Girls for Rent.
If this is something new, why do they refer to it as the world's oldest profession? Huh?
They'll tire you out and tear you apart in a bedroom or in a brawl. They're hot, wild, and for hire. Girls for Rent.
But will they do windows? I mean, the last time I got one of these girls for rent, all she wanted to do was have sex. And me with a sink full of dishes. Aye.
Trapped in the West's most deserted wastelands by killers who get their kicks out of hurting people. They call Girls for Rent to get the job done, from loose love to planned murder.
Maybe you didn't know this, but sometimes loose love is planned murder. Huh? You ever think of that? No?
Screeching, screaming, slashing, and shooting. They'll always get their man. Girls for rent.
You can almost smell the hot, sweaty polyester mixed with the scent of hot semen. At least, those are my memories of the 70s. What are yours? Mostly polyester and semen. Most things were. Asthma? Well, I suppose we should offer something a little more quality in the way of programming here.
My word, it would seem as if I'm staying at the same luxury hotel that all the GOP candidates are staying in as they hustle for votes in the New Hampshire primary. I believe I'll go down to the gym and see what sort of trouble I can get into. Yow! Oh, goodness! Aha! Walked in this gym, surprised to see Bobby Jindal getting busy, just rocking to the butt stuff beat. Way he shook his booty, sure looked good to me. I said, come here, Big Bob, to rock my world. Show that butt to me. Hey, do it in the butt. Hey, pretty, pretty. When you get that notion, give your back door some lotion. Hey, do it in the butt. Hey, sexy, sexy. Ain't nothing wrong if you want to do the butt all night long. Oh, gonna pass a law about it. Oh, shake it. I grabbed Ted Cruz out on the floor. I rocked him from the backside, did the butt till it made him sore. Now it's a physical thing, but not hard to do. You just shake a shake, shake a shake a shake a shake, doing the butt all night long. Come on! Sexy, sexy. When you get that notion, give your back door some lotion. Hey, do it in the butt. Hey, sexy, sexy. Ain't nothing wrong if you want to do the butt all night long. Oh, dear. Oh, that's right. Shake that butt. Oh, come on. Come on. Give me the butt. Give me that Republican butt. Old Hucka's got a big old butt. Ted Cruz got a big old butt. Rand Paul got a big old butt. Jeb Bush got a big old butt. Ben Carson got a big old butt. Rick Perry got a big old butt. Scott Walker got a cheesy butt. Chris Christie got a big old butt. Now, give me the butt. Yay, yay. We're going to drop the lines before we stand up. We're screaming at the dudes with the big old butt. Now, sing it. Ow. I want your butt. That butt. That big old butt. Doing the butt. Hey, pretty, pretty. When you get that notion, give your back door some lotion. Hey, do it in the butt. Hey, sexy, sexy. Ain't nothing wrong if you want to do the butt all night long. Woo. Oh, listen to that now. That sounds like the Republican gay men's chorus. They're marching like them monkeys did at the Wizard of Oz going into the castle. That's DC, LA, like you got to say, hey,
holler at me, but do it nice. Ow! That butt, your big old butt now. Hey, hey, ah! Hey, yeah, your butt. I want that butt. I'll keep my mouth shut, you give me the butt. Hey, pretty. When you get that notion, give your back door some lotion. Oh, do it in the butt. Hey, sexy. Ain't nothing wrong if you want to do the butt all night long. Oh, I think it's
We hope you remember to sort out the recyclables. Back to Trailer Trash Talk. Here is our erstwhile trash master, Bill Schmalfeld.
Ah, yes. Hot, sweaty polyester, fresh, hot semen, and the smell of lubricant. Everywhere, the smell of men enjoying themselves. Now, I don't want this should be taken the wrong way, but have you ever had those situations where you wish there was a cop around, but there was none in sight? And then you hear about a case where the cops showed up maybe a little too early. Now, I don't want to say anything about the people involved here. I'm just going to read the story, and I'll let you come to your own conclusions, which, if you're like me, and God help you, your conclusions will be, why couldn't the cops have been 10 minutes later? This is from the CNN News website. Usama Rahim, who was fatally shot after waving a military knife at law enforcement officers, was originally plotting to behead Pamela Geller, an activist and conservative blogger, law enforcement sources told CNN Wednesday. But Rahim, a 26-year-old security guard who officials believe was radicalized by ISIS and other extremists, decided to instead target the boys in blue. They say this is a reference to police. I say it might be the New York Giants. Of course, you recall that Geller drew national attention last month after police thwarted an attack on an event her organization was sponsoring in Garland, Texas. She's president of the American Freedom Defense Initiative, which includes subsidiary programs Stop Islam. How do you say this word? Islamization. Okay, there. Stop Islamization of America and Stop Islamination of Nations. So, I guess he decided that Pamela Geller would be dessert? I don't know. I mean, who knows what these creepy guys think, right? And by that, I mean the police.
All right, everybody simmer down. Simmer down, it's time for the briefing. He said shut up. All right then. We have some new directives sent down from headquarters. No doubt some of you have been following the news and you heard that the Staten Island grand jury came back with the no true bill against that brave Staten Island police officer what choked that big black fellow to death for selling cigarettes. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what we saw down there in, where was that again?
Ferguson, Missouri.
Oh, yeah, right, Ferguson, Missouri. That's by St. Louis there. This continues a trend that began in Florida when that Zimmerman guy put a couple rounds in that kid who was walking while black and wearing a hoodie. So the department, in its wisdom, says that we don't gotta worry no more about shooting black people or killing them or whatever else, since nobody else seems to care.
Are you saying that we got license to kill whoever black guy we want, Sergeant Gronkowski?
No, you knucklehead. They gotta be committing some kind of crime first. Or at least you gotta suspect they're committing a crime. Let me see if I can put it this way for you, make it a little easier for you to understand the complex nature of the situation that I am bringing to your attention at the briefing today. Grab his throat, and just like that, watch him drop down to the doorstep. Give yourself a treat, leave him dying there in the street. If a perp starts talking back, he will stop when he's been led swept. Put a toe tag on his feet, leave him bleeding there in the street. When a black guy you kill, know that a grand jury will never send out a true bill. Don't chase him, just waste him. There's no need to drop a gun. There's no need to concoct stories. Like a slab of meat, leave him bleeding there in the street. Grab your Glock and bust a cap. That's community policing. Give yourself a treat, leave him dying there in the street. He can't say he wasn't trapped with his temperature decreasing. You just made him obsolete, leave him bleeding there in the street. They cry no justice, no peace, but all those protests will cease when their numbers decrease. They're looting, start shooting, and they'll finally learn their place. Peace and quiet, no more riots. Make them feel the heat, leave them bleeding there in the street. All right, you bunch of chowder heads, knock it off. Get out there on the streets and let's be safe out there, okay?
He leaves his mark everywhere. In the lowest dives, down the darkest alleyways, on street corners.
Now listen, the girls still get wound up and nervous, don't they? Okay, you give them a few powders for their nerves, even if you have to give it to them free the first few times.
He peddles his poison even along the big town's Gold Coast. His front, a luxurious penthouse apartment.
What you need is a jolt.
No,
Then why did you come here?
because I thought that...
Huh?
All right. I did it.
The pusher doesn't miss a trick. And his is the deadliest one of all. The big fix. Once you're in it, there's no way out. He calls the shots, and you pay the pusher. The pusher's greed stops at nothing. Like some predatory figure of evil, destroying every obstacle in his path, defiling every woman he touches.
Throughout America today, there are men who, sad to say, are not really men. Through no fault of their own, they were born without a vital body part that helps a boy become a man. Oh, sure, we're not saying that it takes a certain chemical in the bloodstream to make a person a mature adult male. There are people, brave people, who are as manly as can be, even though they don't have a drop of testosterone in their blood. But far too often, especially among men in the Republican Party or those who cling to right-wing views, we find people who are technically adults but are still quivering, cowardly little boys who cling to their mommy's apron strings. People who send taunting, angry tweets to people and then demand that your account be suspended if you respond. People like an adult male in his 60s living in Westminster, Maryland, who uses the courts the way a boxer would use his fists. There's no lie he won't tell, no self-degradation he will not endure to punish the people he feels have wronged him, although we feel he is compensating for the horrible abuse he must have endured as a pimply-faced Poindexter who thought he knew more than everyone else in his school or university. People like an adult male in his 40s, residing in suburban Chicago, who is so afraid of a man with Parkinson's disease, this able-bodied adult male felt it necessary to resort to a weapon that victims, usually female victims, use to protect themselves against their abusers. This adult male from Palatine, Illinois, has spent God knows how much of other people's money to protect himself from a man who can barely raise his hands above shoulder level. And then there's people like an adult male in his 30s living in Racine, Wisconsin, who throws dog poo at bigger, stronger people from under the front porch of his ramshackle house, then hides under the porch or up inside his mommy's skirt. Sure, we're all disgusted by people like that. It's a natural reaction. These people who choose the road of cowardice, who insult others at will, but then cry when they are insulted in return. But there's something we fellas can do to help these poor, spineless wastes of human life. Unlike women who are born with a set number of eggs in their ovaries, and once those eggs are gone, they go into menopause, a man's testicles continue to produce sperm and other male hormones well into their 90s. So the next time you renew your driver's license, ask for the proper form so you can donate your testicles to adult males like these. For each set of testicles you donate after your death, the Nuts for Nitwits Society will donate a cadaver scrotum, so the recipient of your gift will have some place to keep it. We can't promise that every recipient of a testicle transplant will grow up, stand on his hind legs, and start acting like a man, but there's hope. Fill out your form today and donate your testicles to the Nuts for Nitwits Society. Somewhere, an adult male is filling out a petition for an order of protection against a man who couldn't harm him even if he wanted to. Please, help him. And thank you.
If you let the trash sit for too long, it gets all stinky, just like a certain zombie mistress of our acquaintance. She generally produces more maggots. However, back to Trailer Trash Talk with our gentle trash master, Bill Schmalfeld.
I mean, when I saw the chick come into the courtroom, at first I thought she was involved with one of the divorce cases or something. But then it was just the people involved with me and Hogue and some law students sitting in the back row. And didn't know who she was until I read Thinking Man Zombie later today, in which she intimated she was there in the courtroom. But I tell you what.
Stinky!
Oh, boy. Smelled like low tide on Sanibel Island. Well, I guess that's the view from the window here at my single wide in Elkridge, Maryland. How are things looking at yours?
You've been listening to Trailer Trash Talk, recorded live from the living room of a single wide trailer in Elkridge, Maryland. You can tweet the Trash Master at Trailer Trash Guy. That's at Trailer Trash Guy. Our Facebook fan pages, www.facebook.com/The Liberal Grouchcast. Trailer Trash Talk is a copyrighted performance by Bill Schmalfeld, copyright 2015, after airing live on Blog Talk Radio. These shows can be heard on YouTube, SoundCloud, and at our website, trailertrashtalk.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay tidy, and don't forget to pick up the trash.